Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Neptune transiting the 8th house in a natal chart. Now, on average, Neptune will traverse a house for approximately 14 years. However, if your house size is a little bit larger than average, then Neptune will be in there for a little bit of a longer duration. If your house size is a little bit smaller than average, then Neptune will be in there for a little bit of a shorter period. Well, anyway, people, first thing I'll look at when Neptune transits one's natal 8th house, it's very important to be really careful in as far as things connected with credit card fraud. In really being more, you may be more susceptible to these kind of scams. The 8th house can be associated with credit and credit cards, and Neptune is about deception, and you could easily, you have a better chance of letting your guard down, and something could happen where your number gets into the wrong hands. I mean, this could even be copied. Even a cashier can get this number in many instances. So it's very important to look as far as that goes. And really, the 8th house is about sex. And this could be a time where perhaps you might have really, as far as fantasizing about sex, it might be a stronger period where you do a lot more of that during this period than ordinarily. But at the same time, sexual partner or someone you have an intimate relationship, you got to guard against maybe over idealizing this person and being able to see that, make sure you're able to see their transgressions, the negatives in them, and that you might see them for what you want to see them as, and really may not see the negatives in them. It's not that it's bad to overlook the negatives, but the negatives could be something where it could be detrimental to you, and you have to make sure that you see them. Also, the 8th house is associated with shared resources, so there might be some confusion connected with this during Neptune's transit to your natal 8th house. It could be something where what you think is a 50-50 split in terms of shared resources might be 90-10 in favor of someone else, of the other person. And this person that's connected with the shared resources, there's a greater chance that this person may be taking more than he or she should during this time, whether it's in a business or it's something where you're sharing resources in a home. So those are some things to look at as far as this transit goes. And it's interesting, you could also have a strong perhaps, or stronger interest, perhaps affinity for astrology during this time, because you think about it, the 8th house is associated with astrology, and Neptune is connected with the metaphysical. So this could be a time where you might if you're already interested in astrology before this transit happens, you might have a more pronounced interest in it. This interest might be more accentuated or more emphasized during this transit. And if you're really not much interested in astrology before this transit, there's a greater chance or propensity to have an interest in it once this transit hits. I became interested in astrology when Neptune was transiting my 8th house. In 1982, Neptune was in my natal 8th house, and that's when I became interested in it, and I thought that was very interesting. Now, the 8th house is also about transformation, and Neptune can be connected with the spiritual and spirituality. This could be a spiritual metamorphosis for some people during this time. Maybe some people that have this transit might go through some transformation connected with astrology during this transit. Now, this could also be maybe you might become interested as far as a sexual partner goes. Maybe somebody that may have Pisces prominent in his or her chart, such as Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant, or has Neptunian like embody Neptunian-like qualities and characteristics. Now, I know some of you don't like the dreaded D word, death, but the 8th house does correspond with death. And I mean, for most cases, this wouldn't happen, I wouldn't believe, but when Neptune traverses one's 8th house, I think there can be a little stronger propensity for a death. Perhaps that might be chemical related. It could be in an alcohol or drug overdose, perhaps. Some cases it could be some kind of chemical poisoning, or even Neptune is associated with water bodies, where it could be some kind of drowning during this time. But like I said, in most cases I don't believe this would happen, but I think it does increase that propensity a little bit during this transit. And during this time too, keep in mind the 8th house, when you talk about death, sometimes you could have a figurative death occur during this transit. It could be a spiritual death. It could be maybe a death of some kind of spiritual belief, but maybe something else supplants it, a different spiritual belief, for example, or it could be something connected with the metaphysical as far as some belief goes, and maybe that dies and it's replaced by new. It could even be something simple like going from Vedic astrology to Western or vice versa. Well, anyway, it's also important to look at the aspects, if any, that are made to your natal planets and points from this transit during this time, because this could impact the transit. Now, let's say that transiting Neptune is making a sextile or trine to your natal Mars. Now, this could be propitious for actions connected with other people. Now, being in the 8th, it could be tied in to shared resources, for example, being more sacrificing with these shared resources and things connected with that, and really and maybe even matters connected with astrology, such as maybe doing things astrological for somebody if you are an astrologer, for example. Another example, and could be and what reason I said shared resources in astrology, because that is the Neptune is transiting the 8th house in this example. Now, let's take another example. Let's say that transiting Neptune is making a square in conjunct or opposition to your natal Jupiter. Well, this could be difficulties with testing luck, so to speak, via unrealistic endeavors and ventures. And being in the 8th, it could be tied into some major change or transformation during this time. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Neptune transiting the 8th house in the natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Neptune transiting the 9th house in the natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.